Perry Ridge sits adjacent to Valhalla Provincial Park in southeastern BC. The park itself is a rare and protected habitat holding significant stands of old-growth forests. These unique habitats shelter numerous species of endangered and vulnerable animals and plants. Unfortunately, the park's protective boundaries do not extend along the river portion of the Slocan Valley. Perry Ridge is the riparian area along the west side of the Slocan River and at present runs unprotected for 35 kilometers. Perry Ridge is in the southernmost part of the rare inland temperate rainforest, specifically unique in its active geological hydrology. Designation as an ecological reserve will protect the ridge and all those who depend upon it from irresponsible and irreversible watershed destruction. A unique collective watershed reservoir, the east side of the ridge drains into the Slocan River and the west side into the Little Slocan Lakes and the Little Slocan River. Essentially circled by water, the ridge is a highly sensitive, natural hydrological island where water percolates through fragile soils and down deeply incised creeks, exhibiting dynamic, water-driven geological phenomena such as underground piping and sinkholes. Perry Ridge has been identified on GIS forest cover maps as one of the largest remaining intact forested areas left in the southern portion of the inland temperate rainforest region of BC. Light green signifying forested, dark green old growth, and red logging. Since this map was made, the logging areas have increased, threatening the integrity of the ridge. The ridge has some of the Slocan Valley's last intact mid and low elevation stands of old-growth fir, cedar, hemlock, ponderosa pine, larch, and cottonwood. The forest floor is a world unto itself, with lichen and moss carpets, flowers, ferns, and fungi. Our brochure, Perry Ridge, an Ecological Reserve, released last winter, caught the attention of a local lichenologist and supporter of Perry Ridge Ecological Reserve, when she read that Perry Ridge contained rare species of lichen. In fact, in 2004, a species of lichen in the genus Chloroxia, previously unknown to science, was discovered on Perry Ridge. She is now undertaking a study and collection of lichens on Perry Ridge and plans to send them to officials in Ottawa. The identified bedrock meadow habitat on Perry Ridge was surveyed in 2004 by Toby Sprabil, Department of Vegetation Analysis and Phytodiversity, University of Göttingen, Germany, and was found to contain the blue-listed plant species Mimulus breweri. The ridge also provides an essential wildlife connectivity corridor from Valhalla Provincial Park through to Kokanee Glacier Park and areas south toward Nelson and beyond through West Arm Provincial Park to the Darkwoods property newly acquired by the Nature Conservancy of Canada. The forest is populated by elk and bears, moose, cougars, martens, wolverines, coyotes, and deer. A mother grizzly with 3 cubs has been spotted on Perry Ridge. Salamanders, rubber boa snakes, alligator lizards, blue-tailed skinks, and the endangered Townsend long-eared bat make their home on Perry Ridge, while high above, nesting in the steep rock faces, are bald eagles, goshawks, and the majestic golden eagle. Peregrine falcons have been documented at the south end of Perry Ridge, a new arrival to this region due to a loss of habitat in their traditional territories. 60+ bird species in BC, including the endangered screech owl and blue heron, rely on the old-growth cottonwood ecosystems along the ridges, creeks, and rivers. There have been reports of sightings of the endangered leopard frog on Perry Ridge. Biologist Dr. Brendan Wilson of the School of Renewable Resources has told Perry Ridge Water Users Association that sightings of the leopard frog are indeed rare and that further investigation should occur to confirm these sightings. Currently, there are only 2 documented occurrences of that species in Western Canada: the Creston Valley Marshes and Bummers Flats in the East Kootenay. Ideal western toad habitat has been identified on the ridge. The western toad, a species which is one of only a few amphibians inhabiting alpine areas, relies on the same wet areas year after year on the ridge and is protected under the Federal Species at Risk Act, as well as being the only Canadian amphibian identified by the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. It has characteristics that make it particularly sensitive to human activities or natural events and has been given this federal and international designation largely because of concerns over the global declines in amphibian populations due to habitat destruction. The top of the ridge is a high-elevation cultural wetland whose creeks and underground springs drain down both sides of the mountain, supplying agricultural and drinking water for several hundred farms, businesses, and residences on the valley floor. When residents of the area were polled in a regional district of Central Kootenay survey, 94% of the respondents classified protection of the natural environment as very important or important, with over 90% citing watershed protection specifically. The creeks provide clean headwaters in the Columbia River Basin, an essential source of the fisheries food chain. Both endangered, the short-nosed sculpin and the bull trout, rely heavily on the clean waters these creeks on Perry Ridge provide to this extensive river system. However, long-standing pressures from logging and now the new added pressures from independent power projects are shoving delicate natural water systems critically off balance. On Perry Ridge, there is one proposed independent power project currently under an Environmental Appeal Board hearing, which is being supported by the West Coast Environmental Law Dispute Resolution Fund. Protection of the forested slopes and creeks above the river ensures continuity of the natural beauty along the 35-kilometer ridge section of the Trans-Canada Trail. Extremely rich in biodiversity, Perry Ridge, as an ecological reserve, will provide a natural classroom, offering a rare perspective into undisturbed natural processes and habitats.